Yes, I guess there was an air of inevitability about Peter Flavel departing Coutts. It's from a very personal point of view, you would have to say it was a great shame, because he has been an absolutely exceptional CEO of Coutts. When he came into the business, Peter Flavel, he joined from JP Morgan, where he'd spent the bulk of his career. He really came into a business that was at quite a low ebb at the time. Coutts had just been fined very heavily, more than £6 million by the regulator for various misdemeanours. He not only runs Coutts, he's in charge of the whole wealth management business at NatWest. It's a much broader job description than just running Coutts. But as I say, he came into the business when it was at quite a low ebb and did a great deal to modernise it. He merged a lot of functions. He took a lot of cost out of the business, and it became very rapidly one of the more profitable parts of the broader NatWest group in terms of the way it was growing. He went out of his way to attract a clientele that perhaps wouldn't have previously been associated with Coutts. There were a lot of sportsmen and musicians who were lured to the business. He gave it a far more modern feel, and that's actually borne out if you go to the Coutts head office. It has the kind of feel of a sort of boutique hotel now, almost, rather than the sort of rather fustier business with which it was associated. Of course, famously the banker to Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and also, although they never confirm it, the modern king. I actually asked him on air once whether he was the king's banker, and he said, somewhat ironically, you might think in view of recent events, well, we never discuss client affairs. But that's really what has done for Peter Flavel. Obviously, Nigel Farage, they decided they were going to let him go as a customer. Initially, this narrative was put out that it was because he failed to meet the bank's wealth criteria. We now know, not least from all the documentation that Nigel Farage himself has released into the public domain, it was really because they didn't like his opinions very much. He was described in one meeting, documents put before one committee meeting at Coutts, as a disingenuous grifter, and you really can't describe your customers like that, and particularly not when that gets into the public domain. So an air of inevitability, as you say. Nigel Farage had wanted Peter Flavel to go, as indeed he did Alison Rose. So he's claimed another scalp there. Mohammed Kamad Fayed will replace Peter Flavel in the short term. But as I say, it's rather a sad end to what had been a pretty distinguished career, turning around quite a prestigious part of the business and restoring its fortunes, certainly both financially, so to speak.